Your someday starts today. It's time to explore and test the newest science, methods, and trends for creating a life you love with your host, Tanya MFK. Welcome to My Designed Life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to My Design Life, where we bring you realistic ways to create your best life now and then test them to see what really works. I'm your host, Tanya MFK. Thank you for joining me today. You can watch us every other Monday live right here at 3 p.m. EST, as well as YouTube, Binge Networks TV, IGTV, My Design Life podcast, and all your favorite podcast platforms. As always, I got to send a shout out to our faithful FM listeners at 99.1 FM, WDJY, and WTTA 101 in Kentucky and Ohio. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are going to learn why self-confidence is your key to success and happiness, why 96% of people don't think they have it, and what specific actions you can take to get it. With a long list of benefits like improved relationships, resilience, motivation, release from fear and anxiety, confidence is not only more important than what's in your bank account, but it may be the number one thing holding you back from putting more money in it. But first, I want to give a quick update on the Naikan practice we learned in our last show. As you may recall, Naikan is the Japanese practice of self-reflection. You think of a person and or situation and ask yourself 3 questions. 1, what have I received from this person and or situation? 2, what did I give this person and or situation? And 3, what troubles or difficulties did I cause this person and or situation? And that's it. You're not supposed to fix anything. It's a practice of awareness. And I have to tell you, I love the idea, but I was skeptical. So first, I will say that it was so easy to find time for it every day. I was readily able to squeeze in 2 to 3 minutes to think on this. The time commitment was really appealing. And even though it was so quick, I found the benefits to be immediate, although it was not always fun. My first day, I realized I was kind of a selfish jerk and I hadn't contributed much. So that was rough, but the realization was helpful. Now that I was aware I was being a kind of a selfish jerk, I was more aware of not being a selfish jerk. So let's call that a win. But seriously, there were so many little things that I would have never noticed if I didn't take this simple time to reflect. And that's the point, right? We're so caught up in looking at the past and the future that we miss the present moment. And while there are several practices out there to get you to be in the now, I feel like this was the present moment tool for those in a hurry. So if you are feeling like you want a little zen in your life, but don't have time to go live in a cave, I highly recommend testing this out. And tag us and let us know how it goes. So a big thank you to our last week's guest, Paul Crick, for putting this practice on our radar. And now for today's topic. If you think you'll be confident once you get that promotion or fit into that bikini, you're going to be sorely bummed. We'll learn today that your circumstances do not create your confidence or lack thereof. And the truth is, it's been a buzzword for so long that it almost has no meaning. We'll all quickly agree it's important, but we don't actually do anything to make sure we have it. Yet studies show that is one of the key factors to a happy and successful life. It's a genuine concept. It's linked to mental health, well-being, and a positive way of being in the world. And with an increase of depression, suicide, and social comparison, self-confidence is a tool that we need now more than ever. And the good news is that it's a mindset skill we can all learn, which brings me to our guest. She is a peak performance mindset coach specializing in confidence psychology, manifestation, and success mindset. Once a victim of longtime bullying, ashamed of her body, and struggling with her weight, she took the opposite direction that most of us do and went into bodybuilding, completely transforming herself and winning the take-all title. But she soon fell into deep depression and anxiety, almost taking her life. Realizing that changing the body is easy, but the real transformation is in the mindset, she took her mental health in her own hands and reprogrammed her thinking and created a new life for herself. Seeing that this lack of confidence was also a human epidemic, She took her newfound tools and now teaches ambitious women all over the world to be fearless and fierce with science-backed techniques and spiritual connectedness. Please give a warm welcome to a woman of reinvention, manifestation, and a drive to change the world, the one and only Kylie Opperman.
Oh, wow. That was a stunning introduction. Thank you so much. I'm literally covered in goosebumps right now.
You are really amazing. Like I was just blown away as I research all of our guests as we get into this. There was so much in learning about you and your bio and your story. I want to cover so much. I'm excitedly overwhelmed. And I have to tell you, while we were getting ready for this segment, I took my own small act of courage and confidence to wear these big earrings, which are probably not noticeable to anyone else, but I questioned myself all over the place just to wear these earrings. How crazy is that? Like, that's what we do, right? Just for these earrings.
Well, they look absolutely stunning on you, so I love them. Keep wearing them.
Thank you. Well, yes, between you and Erica Badu today, I was inspired to just wear it. So I'll explain Erica later, guys. But man, go see her actually. Go watch Erica. She is the epitome, I think, of self-confidence. So I would love to just dive into where you've been, because you have been where a lot of us still are. And even with some we're getting to it, like contemplating suicide, feeling unworthy, not loving yourself or your body. How do you get from there to this woman you are now, who is clearly confident in herself, her body, and her life?
Well, it's been quite a journey. Like you said in the introduction, I think where my break in confidence came from actually started in childhood. I was bullied quite hectically in school. It already started in primary school. I think it's just because I was always that softie. I've always been very empathetic, and growing up, I never had so much of a backbone. So I think children used to take advantage of that. And I was also quite troubles. So they took their nicks at me, and progressively going into high school. I'm not sure if you guys have it in the States, but here in South Africa, we have like an initiation from the lowest grade 8, and then it kind of initiates you going into high school.
We have an unofficial one that's not very nice, but
ours wasn't nice either.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that was quite a hectic thing for me, because in high school, my adolescence, I peaked at quite an ugly adolescence. I was chubby. I had really bad skin. I was also still am very nerdy, wore glasses. So, I wasn't in with the crowd.
Had it all against you. All the typical stuff we hear, right? All against you.
Check. Be picker. And I don't know if you've ever watched the show Ugly Betty. Remember?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
Yeah. So they basically called me Ugly Betty because I had all of those appeals that she had. And that kind of broke my self-confidence quite a bit. And funny enough, I never spoke about this. I never told my parents about it, obviously for the fear of them approaching, the school, and the kids would target me more. So I just kind of lived throughout with it. And in the moment I transitioned into varsity, I also moved to a different country to study. And that was kind of for me, like, I'm starting a new chapter. I want to start over. And initially, I always thought that confidence meant you're comfortable in your body. Kind of Western society portrays confident women always as your Western norm woman. So she's got, very tiny body, beautiful hair, beautiful eyes. Everything's just perfect physically. So I was like, okay, great. I want to build my confidence. Let me aspire towards that.
Right.
I remember a bikini model at the time approached me, and she was like, you need to compete. And my shy, chubby self,
wow.
I was like, no, that's not going to happen. But it kind of stuck at the back of my mind for 2 years. Fast forward 2 years down the line, and I stepped on stage, and it was a very empowering feeling. And I felt very confident. I was like, this is probably what it means. But
well, let me I have to ask you right there. So you go from feeling just totally uncomfortable in your own skin, and then somebody says, sorry, I switched mics here. Somebody says, you should go get in a bikini. How did you get from there to go, okay, let's try this?
Well, I kind of found training, like weight training, to be a physical form of therapy. Um, at that time, I ended a relationship that we were like high school sweethearts, so we were together for like 4.5 years about.
Wow.
So it was like a lot of healing that had to be done from that. And obviously, I found healing from training through all the emotional, I would almost say abuse I've been through in high school.
Okay,
So for me, it became its
so
own.
you were already working out and like doing some things. Okay. So you were like the shy, like coming in and they're like, you should get in a bikini.
Well, it was kind of like that, but you know, it's something that sticks at the back of your mind. You just start dreaming. You're like, but what if? What if that was? And I think where the light switched for me is when I actually went to a bodybuilding competition and I saw these women on stage and I felt that immense sense of inspiration from them. And I was like, somehow along the line, my gut just told me that you are meant to empower people. Like, and immediately I just came from the sense of, okay, my first step is to compete. If I look at it in 2017, the last time I competed, I did quite well at that show as well. And I remember getting off stage, and the first thing I told my mother is, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to inspire and empower people. But yet, I had so much still to learn that actually my sense of empowerment and inspiring people came more from the mental realm. And slowly but surely, I mean, the universe has its way of teaching us beautiful things if we don't want to listen. I had a very hardcore lesson to learn that my confidence actually had to be rooted much more in my mental and emotional realm and not just my physical realm.
Right. So you get to I mean, that's already an incredible journey, right? So you get to this place, you've been bullied, you've had this like just been beaten down mentally and your view of yourself. You start to take action for your own kind of sense of strength and empowerment just through working out, getting to the gym, working through your relationship. And then somebody sees something in you is like, girl, get up there and you need to do something. And so that was like a shift already, just to take that step, to answer that what if, which I love, because so many of us, what if is it's a visualization. What if is really a visualization. And most of us use it in the negative sense. What if I fail? What if I get in a car accident? We think visualization is some weird woo-woo thing, but we do it all the time. We just usually do it as worry. And so you took that what if and said, what if it was good? What if it worked out? And you took that step. And then from there, it wasn't completely satisfying. Is that kind of where it happened?
Definitely. The thing is, I realized when I reached the peak of my bodybuilding career at the time, I was doing really well. I had qualified for the Arnold's, which is quite a big show, twice. So everything was going well in my favor in terms of that. And I had sponsors that were lined up. But it was literally that moment where physically I was in my best condition possible, but mentally I was so broken. I think it's from years. I think it's a blessing and a curse. When I first started training for bodybuilding competitions, I used that as my like vice for therapy, to get kind of as a catalyst to get over things. So I never really dealt with my emotions.
Right.
And it came to a point where about 2017, like so much had built up between the years of me starting varsity in 2013 to 2017, which I think life has a way of blessing us with experiences so we can teach others. So I definitely had to go through those things, but I went through so much that I didn't actually process emotionally, that I just reached such a breaking point. And I just had that realization that if this isn't making me happy right now, and if physically what I look like I always strive towards this physical aspiration, thinking that was the next big step I had to take to feel better within myself, to feel more confident, to feel content in life, to be happy, to feel fulfilled. Like, to me, I mean, it's the easiest way because, you know, the physical realm gets put in everything. If you look at Western society, everywhere we look is your body is basically equivalent to happiness. That's
yes.
No one really talks about the deeper things.
Yes, we think it's so outside. So I want to dive into this more for sure. So we have to take a break. And we're going to get back with Kylie Opperman right now and talk about this confidence inside, that it's not just outside. So we're going to take a break. If you guys don't forget to take us everywhere you go with our UI Media streaming app. Go to uimediaapp.com to watch live now and to catch all your favorite show replays. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Kylie Opperman and Action Steps for Self-Confidence. All right, welcome back, guys. I'm Tanya MFK, and you're watching My Design Life. We are here with confidence psychology expert, mindset, and manifestation coach, Kylie Opperman. So before we dive back in, I just want to remind you guys, like, comment, ask, share this video below, because we will be checking in with you all soon. And if you want to call in and chat with us, please call, for those of us outside, it's +1 678-495-4345. All right. So, Kylie, we were talking about your incredible journey, which is really just the beginning of it, of how you went from feeling just completely beaten down in your confidence to take all title in bodybuilding, to still not being satisfied and realizing that there was so much changed outside, but you hadn't really dealt with what was inside. And I think for some of us that are maybe having a hard time understanding that, I know for myself, when I was extremely overweight and I lost 80 plus pounds, that you still act as the overweight girl. Your mindset is still in that place, because yes, your clothes fit, yes, you can shop for smalls and mediums now, but everything that was in there, all those old things that you've been told and you heard for so long, are still sitting there. And so is that kind of the same thing that was going on for you, Kylie?
Yes. I love that you mentioned that, because it's so true. I look back at photos of myself when I was so tiny, and I was probably about like under 10% body fat. So you can just imagine how tiny I was. And I still criticized myself. Like, I still saw myself as fat. And I was wearing smalls that were baggy on me. Like, as crazy as that is. And I just love how you said that, because confidence is a state of mind. It's not a state of being. And that's the big difference, because if you look at confidence, it basically comes from feelings of well-being. And it comes from accepting your body and mind. So that's kind of where the self-love comes from. And I'm not talking about face masks and bubble baths and that kind of thing.
Right. Oh, thank you for saying that.
A lot deeper than that. It's actually truly loving yourself and accepting yourself. I remember once listening to a talk, and it was amazing when this woman spoke about her own journey of self-love. And she's like, how many of us, especially as women, I'm sure maybe men can resonate, I'm not sure, but how many of us actually take the time to look at ourselves in the mirror when we're naked? I mean, have you ever had that moment where you just bypass the mirror when you're naked and you're just like, oh, I need to get dressed?
Right. It's almost like when you see someone else naked, you're like, oh, didn't mean to say that.
Yeah. And she was literally like, she did this religiously every morning for a year, sat in front of the mirror, butt naked, and just stared at herself. And said, I love you completely and wholly, and I forgive you. I forgive everything you've done, and I support you with grace and kindness for the future. And to me, that's so beautiful. Like, that is self-love.
And I want to say something real quick with this, because I know some people hear about these affirmations and these things are like, oh God, it's so hokey. And what's interesting is try it once and you're going to see actually how hard it is. You think, well, I'm just telling myself this positive thing. It is so hard to look at yourself and actually say something nice. And how crazy is that? Yet we can turn around and be like, oh God, gotta lose this weight here. Look at that. Oh, my hair's like, we have no problem critiquing ourselves. But if you think these affirmations are hokey, you'll be surprised how much strength it really takes to do them.
Exactly. And the thing about affirmations, and I think it's one thing that kind of needs to be explained a lot deeper, is if we look at affirmations, the big point of affirmations, or the aim, is basically to rewire your subconscious mind. Yes. So the big problem that people, or the big mistake that people have, is they just pop an affirmation up in the air. For example, I am beautiful. So what's going to happen the moment you make a statement, your brain tries and finds references to back up the statement, to make it a truth. So if you're just going to say, I'm beautiful, immediately your brain is going to pop up any reference it can. It's going to pop up experiences, because we always reference back to past experiences. It's going to pop up experiences where you felt beautiful, and then it's going to pop up experiences where you didn't feel beautiful. And it's going to weigh out the two. And let's say, for example, if you're not confident and you had more experiences where you didn't feel beautiful enough, your brain's going to reference it. The moment you say that affirmation, that I'm beautiful, your brain's going to be like, oh, but what about A, B, C, and Z experience that happened? So no, actually, you're not beautiful. And that's why whenever you say an affirmation, you need to back it up, give it reason, give it flesh, because an affirmation is like a skeleton. So now you need to start giving it flesh and actually say to yourself, you know what, I am beautiful because of that time I wore that white dress, because I am successful, because I am a woman. Whatever links to you and makes you feel more beautiful and powerful, it doesn't even make sense to anybody else. It needs to make sense to you. Right. And then you need to back it up with this. I almost like to call this the spirit of the body. Start backing it up with more emotion. So start thinking to yourself, how would you as a beautiful woman feel when you are successful, when you are thriving in your job, when you are thriving in life, when you are with the partner you've always dreamed of? Start embodying those emotions and acting as those emotions. So start acting as that beautiful woman right now. Because that's the only way you're going to attract that beauty and that confidence closer to you. You know, people keep thinking that confidence is like an end destination. That's what I did. I thought confidence, you know, one day I'm going to wake up and I'm confident.
It's there. You arrived.
Exactly. The fastest way for you to embody confidence and attract it into your life right now is to start taking action towards the goals you have, towards the things that you picture as confident. I mean, if you think of a confident woman, you might say, okay, she does her makeup every day and she takes pride in the way she looks. Then start showing up that way. Don't wait for one day that I'm going to start taking pride and start doing my makeup every day. I'm going to actually start looking presentable every day, even if I'm just, you know, confined by the four walls of my office today. But that's what makes me feel good. So start embodying those actions today already, because that's the only way you're going to accelerate your own confidence.
And I love this because again, it's what I talked about in the beginning, and it's that we think it's this thing, you either have it or you don't. Oh, he's born confident, you have his confidence, and you, like you said, you thought it was a destination, and it doesn't. Your external circumstances don't create it. The guy with the top job can feel just as insecure and just as unconfident as the next if it's not in the mindset. You know, people can go, these earrings are beautiful, and I was feeling inconfident. I was like, I don't know if I can pull this off. I'm overthinking earrings. Like, that's where I'm at. So it's so important that, and I've talked about this before, it's this need you have, that a lot of times we think we have to have the thing. We have it backwards. We think we have to have the thing. We have to have confidence, and then we can do the confident things, and then we'll be confident. And it's the opposite. It's these you have. We need to be confident. We need to hold on to it first. Do the things that confident people would do, whether it's makeup or whether it's taking that step or saying hi to the stranger, whatever that means for you. And then you have the confidence now has been created, right? Like, am I on track there?
No, you are. And I was just thinking now as you were talking, one of the biggest things is, I mean, if we look at the 5 realms of consciousness, so you basically have your physical realm. So what I like to do is whenever I teach confidence, I like to break it down in 5 realms of consciousness. There we go. And basically, if we look at the physical realm, those are your actions and also the way you look. So you can start thinking of like, okay, how would I feel more confident if I did my makeup, if I maybe went to the gym every day, whatever the case may be, if I'd be rocking the earrings. And then we dive a bit deeper, and then you go into your thoughts, your mental realm. So how would a confident person think? What would she tell herself every day? Start asking yourself those questions. One of the most beautiful questions you can ask yourself is like, okay, if I had to ask my 10 years from now, my future confident self, how do you think, act, and what did it take for you to get there? You'll be surprised at the answers you'll generate yourself. We already have all the answers within ourselves.
Yes. And
then you dive deep into your emotional realm. How does a confident woman feel? Does she feel insecure? Does she feel intimidated? Does she feel scared? No, she feels ambitious. She's driven. She's excited about life. And then you can dive even deeper into your unconscious realm, which I absolutely love working through. And that's where we look at basically what your beliefs are. Look at what have you been programmed over time? Because if you look at what your confidence currently looks like, it's all a result of past experiences and what people have told us to either do or how we've been taught to respond to situations. Right. That's what actually generated our confidence right now. So when you dig like deeper back into your past, and you start looking at like, you know, what are the experiences that have triggered my confidence, and start healing through those. And then your last level of consciousness is your spiritual realm. And that's your most authentic sense of being. And the biggest thing is if you just align with your most authentic self, with your integrity and just your divine purpose, then you'll be confident within itself. So with that, I basically mean that you don't have to be conformed to the Western norms of society to be confident. You can be your most authentic version of yourself. You know, that dorky, nerdy woman that I actually am. I feel confident within doing that. I don't need to conform to certain norms or expectations in order to embody confidence.
I love this. And I think there's a fine line there, right? Because some people can lash, I don't know if the words lash out, but they can go to these extremes to be different. And it's not necessarily always in confidence. It's almost in like trying to beat you to the punch. Like, I don't want you to ever call me out on being weird or being different. So I'm going to be as weird and obnoxious as possible before you can call it on me, right? I think there's like a fine line there. And then, like you said, it's identifying what your actual belief of confidence is and where they came from. Right? That's a huge part of it, because we can have this idea that it's, oh, well, she looks like this or she does this and this is what it must be like. And like she thinks that everything she does is perfect. Like, that doesn't necessarily have to be confident or holding, I should it probably be the unrealistic expectations, living a life free of problems. That's confidence. Like where does, if you have those beliefs, where do they come from? And is that really what you believe? And I think there's so much of that we go on autopilot without even realizing. I think we do this in a lot of areas of our life, what our values are, the way families or friendships are supposed to look like. We do that by what we saw on TV or what our parents told us. We don't realize as we get older that we're still holding on to what we saw on Friends or something, as far as what friendship's supposed to look like, rather than what confidence is supposed to look like. And the truth is most friends don't all live in some New York apartment, all next to each other. That's not what it looks like. But you may have this idea somewhere, and that's the same thing with confidence. So I love going through those layers. Will you recap just the five, just the names of them again, the 5 levels?
So you first start with your physical realm, and then it's the mental realm, the emotional, the unconscious, and then the spiritual.
And spiritual. I love that, guys. I hope you guys are writing this stuff down. It's so amazing. So as you went through this, how do you, I guess the question is, get from feelings? Actually, I want to ask this first. How do we even realize that confidence is the issue? How do you think we notice if we're just feeling so crappy about ourselves and we're already in it believing like it's not a confidence thing? It's because I'm just terrible. I'm ugly. Life is against me. It's never going to work out. I just can't. I'm just not confident. I'm not that person. How do we get to the point to realize it's something we can change? And yeah, let's start with that.
I think the first thing is definitely that you brought up now as you're speaking is when you have negative thought patterns. So that's basically what brings it in. And the other one is basically, if we look at confidence, it means that we have a certainty within ourselves. So that's the root definition of confidence. So we have faith and certainty within ourselves. So if you have any blocks or doubts or fears, that's when you lack confidence. If we look at basically, because I love teaching the art of manifestation. So if you look at manifestation from thinking, emotions, towards actions, towards faith, and then successful manifestation, confidence is basically your stepping stone between your emotions and your thoughts to your actions.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to break you right there. Hold on. We do got to head to another break, guys. While we're away, set your reminders for tomorrow to wake up with a Wake in Atlanta show as hosts Tim Ray and Jenny McVeigh interview acclaimed author and international dating and relationship coach Renee Slansky, plus a chat with Melissa Smith Realty. That's tomorrow at 6:30 EST on a Wake in Atlanta show. We'll see you right after the break, and we're going to learn how to change our lives with confidence. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to My Design Life. I'm your host, Tanya MFK, and we are having so much fun with Miss K officially teaching us how to live our best life. Before we dive in, I wanted to just check over the board. I actually have been so immersed in this. Not sure if we got anyone chatting with us. Come over and peep over here real quick. See. Oh, guys, it's a lot of technology here. So I'm going to check in with you just a little later. Make sure I can check on that. I'm not finding it as quick. But so before we went to the break, what we were talking about was really how some people can be so deep in the lack of confidence that they don't even know that this is the issue, that it's a confidence issue, and let's see if we can get into it. So Kylie, you were telling us a little bit about the stepping stone to get there.
Yes. So if we go back to looking at like what manifestation is, so to anybody that was not sure of the term, manifestation is basically bringing anything from your, let's say, your deepest desires, dreams, into your, basically from your mental into your physical reality. So it's attracting things into your life essentially. And if we look at manifestation, it's aligning your thoughts and emotions with the correct actions and having faith in God or the divine, whichever you believe in, to, equivalent to success in your life. And this is also a lot of manifestation is also done towards creating more financial freedom and abundance. And the biggest stepping stone between aligning your thoughts and your emotions towards taking the right actions is confidence. So how do you know if you don't have confidence? Well, you're not taking the actions you need to. You're always procrastinating. You always have these fears. And the thing is, with confidence, one important thing I have to state is that confidence is not a trait. So in other words, it doesn't also equivalent with you being an introvert or extrovert. Your most extroverted people can be completely inconfident, if that's even a word.
Yeah, I know. I was mixing it either. I was unconfident, inconfident. We'll go with it.
That is the point.
Be confident in whatever you say.
Exactly. And then, your most introverted, I'm actually quite an introvert. Really shy. If you put me in a lodge with people, I am that awkward person that will sit in the corner sipping my drink and I'm good by myself.
I have to tell you this really quick. So I used to work in music, and the hip hop artist that I worked with, he was a hip hop artist. He was on stage, he's in your face, he's like, doing his thing. And most people were so surprised to find that he was one of the most introverted people, like did not at parties, nothing like that. But they're like, but how does that work? He's on stage. You're like, it's humans. It's not one or the other, right?
Exactly. So just because you're introverted or extroverted, it has nothing to do with your confidence. So if you're constantly doubting yourself, constantly not feeling enough, you're constantly procrastinating and taking those actions, that is when you lack confidence.
That's a huge thing. So that's like, so that is the thing that I guess is so important for us to realize, that my brain's all over the place. So one thing that I love that you said is about the manifesting, because I do want to go back to that real quick, because it is a word we hear a lot, right? It's something that it's kind of the buzzword now. And I think depending on the person and how it's presented, it can definitely sound very woo-woo. And I'm not anti-woo-woo, guys. I know I bring it up a lot, but I think what it is that when things can be so far on one end, it just starts to sound like kids' fairy tale, right? And so one important thing that I love that you said is that it's really about, and you said it's about bringing two things together. What were the two elements you said that manifesting is?
Your thoughts and emotions,
right,
aligned with your actions and your faith.
Yes, thoughts and emotions aligned with your actions and your faith. Like that, I think was so key and huge to understand about what it means to start bringing the things that you're wanting into your life and bringing the confidence. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is that, well, kind of going on the extrovert and introvert thing, for myself, I am very bubbly. I'm the chatty one. I do those things. And I would say for most of my life, I've struggled with some level of confidence of who I am, obviously body issues, what I look like, constantly comparing and doing those things. And it was so interesting because I spoke with an old high school friend about a week ago, and she had mentioned, I'm doing this now. It's, I wasn't always confident like you, Tanya, but I'm starting to come into my own. And it just blew my mind that was the reference of me. Like in her story, I was the confident one. And that just blew me away. You just don't realize that the what you project and the way you feel, right? I didn't feel confident, but those things are put out. And the other thing I wanted to just mention too is that it's not all or none, right? I think you can find, and you correct me if I'm wrong, confidence in certain areas doesn't mean you're automatically confident everywhere.
No,
Right?
definitely. I mean, there's different aspects of being confident. It goes to, you know, your body having that self-love. You can be confident in your business, but be outside of your business, you know, if you step away from that business identity, you're not confident. So it's definitely not a static measure. It's not something that's, you know, constant throughout all your life and through all your realms of or domains of life. It fluctuates from day to day as well. And I think it's also just having that awareness of when this like little dip of confidence comes in. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Like, why am I feeling this way? Rather approach it with grace and kindness and with a sense of curiosity than immediately bashing yourself and being like, you know what, I'm not having a confident day right now. This absolutely sucks. I'm never going to reach my goals. Like, that's not going to help you either.
Right. Being the enemy on top of that to yourself doesn't help. Like, look at you, you're not doing very well. Right. Okay, so we're here, right? We've learned some of these pieces and some of the mindset shift that has to happen. So we've come to this place and we're like, okay, Kylie, I get it. I've really been hard on myself. I've seen that it's a confidence issue. I'm believing you that confidence can really be the key. I'm believing you and a ton of other experts as well that confidence is a real key to happiness. So what do I do? We've said that we have to look at these. We can look at the five realms. Is that what you call them? 5 realms, right? And also, and it's really a mindset thing. So once we do those things, once we've shifted the mindset, are there other action steps we need to take?
Yes, definitely. So I think one of the biggest things you can do is, especially when you're confronted with a situation where you don't feel confident enough. So let's take from a sales point of view. You are busy launching a new program, and you know you're setting yourself out there, doing all the sales, and it places you in a very vulnerable position. I think that's when our confidence feels most threatened, is when we have to be most vulnerable.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I feel that one.
And immediately the sense of imposter syndrome comes in. So you don't feel enough. You know, what if people reject me? What if no one buys my program? You know, all these negative thoughts start swerving in. Then what I'd suggest you do is, and what I've done this numerous times, and I'll actually afterwards give you a really incredible example of my own life, is I like to go through a process. So I write down this event, like journaling is the best thing. If you want to rewire anything or work through anything in your subconscious mind, journaling. And no, it's not that Dear Diary, you know, a 16-year-old. I never did that. I couldn't do that.
Right.
But it's actually writing down your thoughts and feelings and processing things. So I love to journal. And what I do is I write down my input on the top. So I'd be like, okay, what is the event that's triggering me? And I would say, for example, sales for my new program or launching my new program. And immediately underneath that, I write down, okay, what thoughts arise from this? What thoughts are popping up here? And write them all down, the positive, the negative, just let them all flow. Maybe it's a sense of no one will buy my program. Maybe I'm not good enough. Who positions me as an expert? Just write down all these thoughts. Then right under that, how does this make me feel? Write down all those emotions of how this makes you feel. Next up, write down the actions. So these thoughts and feelings have risen. Has this allowed me to take action in the right direction, or has it actually paralyzed me from taking any action at all? And then what's the result been of all of this? Like, what is the result of me not taking action? What's the result of me not taking the right action? A lot of times we'll procrastinate with events that are ineffective. For example, if you need to look through your emails for the day, instead of you immediately feel overwhelmed opening up all these emails, so you grab your phone to check social media. It's kind of like a vice.
Right.
So written down all of these aspects. The number one big important question you can ask yourself is, when was the first time I ever felt like this? When was the first time I ever felt not worthy enough, insecure, whatever pops up to your thoughts and feelings? And the incredible thing when I did this is here's me being vulnerable with everyone. I recently did a launch for my 6-week confidence accelerator program that starts tomorrow. And I basically also teach women like the skill of confidence, because it's a skill you need to master. And I was doing my launch, and I'm true as Bob, the first day I did my launch on Instagram, that imposter syndrome kicked in hard.
Whoa. Launches, guys, my fellow entrepreneurs, I think we all know that, like, the fear of crickets. I've never been so afraid of crickets in my life.
You know, it's like this massive imposter syndrome kicked in. What if no one buys? Am I even good enough? Like,
who am I to be putting this product out there? I'm no Marie Forleo. What's going on? What am I doing?
Exactly. Like, I was every night, shame, my husband probably felt like a therapist, because every night when we were having dinner, I would just lay all of this on him, and he just have to tell me, babe, it's fine. But you know, all this imposter syndrome kept coming up. And I did this own exercise with myself, because by Wednesday, I was like, I've had enough. Like, this is draining me. I like to be high energy. I want to be high vibe, because I want to attract the positive things in my life.
Right.
And I had been signing up clients, but still this imposter syndrome sat with me. So I did this exercise, and I asked myself this question: when was the first time I ever felt like this? When was the first time I had this fear of acceptance and this feeling of potentially being rejected? Because that's what sales and launches come down to.
Yeah.
You have this fear of acceptance and this potential fear of rejection. And truth be told, it came down to the part when I was bullied in high school.
Yes.
How crazy is it? Something that I've consciously healed from. Like, it doesn't bother me anymore. I don't think of it. I don't have nightmares. It's
right.
But subconsciously, it's still been programmed.
Still in there.
I've still been running on autopilot from those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there, the moment I wrote that down, I took a step back, and I was like, wow, you're still allowing something that's impacted you about plus minus 15 years ago, and you're still allowing this to impact you now. And just having that awareness that one specific thing was basically ruling my life in so many other areas. Like, I realized how, not even as a businesswoman, how in relationships, how I was showing up, how even as, you know, in the bodybuilding, in competing again and being athletes, how this one event was basically just shining out into all areas of my life. And the moment I had that awareness, it was incredible. I could literally just write on the one phrase, I forgive you, I forget, and I let go. And it was incredible how after that, it's just as if my imposter syndrome just, it left me.
I love it. So that was going to be my question, is like, when you get that realization, how do you come out of it? So it was for you, and I mean, I'm assuming maybe for others, if this is what you tell others too, is once you see what it is, because I can relate to that. I can definitely go back to some issues that I'm like thinking and overthinking things. And then I go, oh my gosh, this is back to high school. Like, and high school. I'm putting my fist in the air, high school. So detrimental in so many ways. But so we get there and we see it and we go, okay, that's the problem. But then, of course, my question is, what do we do next? And from what you're saying, what we do next is we can kind of have a conscious moment to just say it's okay. And like, the awareness is almost enough. It doesn't necessarily need 30 years of therapy after that, once we've identified it. Right? Okay. I love it. Well, we have another break, guys, our last break. So in the vein of our topic today, make sure that you check the United Intentions Foundation Seeds of Intention and Sprouts of Intention daily planners, guys. You can check those out by clicking the Shop Now button on the UIMedia Network .org website. So go and check those out and come right back. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around. I'm Tanya MFK. This is My Design Life, and we are with the amazing Kylie Opperman. You guys, we have been learning so much powerful stuff here that I think a lot of us, if not all of us, relate to in one way or the other, because 96% of people say they don't have self-confidence. I actually just saw this Dove commercial thing the other day. They had two doors that said average or beautiful, and asked and just left them there, and the women could walk through one of the doors, and the majority, almost 100%, walked through average. And there's so much mindset behind that. And the few women who walk through beautiful, I would say, were not the media standard for what we would say is beautiful, for what we go, oh, that's clearly a model, so that's why she's confident. The models were walking through the average one, and one of them, I kid you not, was like an 80-year-old grandma. She was like, yeah, I'm beautiful. And I was like, get it, grandma. Like, she was confident. So where are we getting so skewed? So I am so excited. These action steps we've had. And I also want to send a little shout out to Robert, who's been in the comments. He has been chatting with us the whole way. Thank you so much, Robert. One thing that he mentioned was that he said that asking his friends what his strengths were was also helpful. And I think that's a big thing. Getting it out of your own head and kind of hearing it from somebody else can also be helpful. I'm sure there's also like dangerous lines with that too, but I know in most circles it can be a nice thing to do. So he also said he's grateful he doesn't remember high school. So good for you. That'll be helpful. But so we are in our last segment here. I want to, we could talk about this all the time, and we will, guys, actually come see us tomorrow on My Design Live. We're going to be chatting more. But let's get into, we were going into a few action steps. We talked about journaling after our 5 levels, after working on mindset. We talked about getting into journaling to just get it out of our head and onto paper. And I love that you specified it's not the Dear Diary. I always like to say journaling is really, we're cramming information in our head all day long. And journaling is the one time that you shut up and you let your brain do the talking, or you actually let it have a moment. You're like, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to look at Instagram, and I'm just going to let you get your moment. And that's what I see journaling as. So we do journaling, and I just had it. We were just talking about, so finding when was the last time that I felt this way, identifying it, and then we were kind of chatting about what we do with it once we find that. And you had mentioned like forgiveness. Is there anything else or something else I missed from that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, forgiveness is one of the most powerful things. I actually one day made a list of 25 people, instances. It's actually always just people that I forgive in my life for things they've done, and it's the biggest way of just releasing all that negative energy and allowing yourself just to become a being of positive energy. And another question you could definitely ask yourself is, if you look at your thoughts, especially your thoughts that kind of, impede your confidence, ask yourself, like, who has ever told me these things? And has anyone ever told me these things? Because I realized the thoughts that were popping up for me that were killing my confidence were thoughts that I conjured up in my own head. I've never had someone blatantly come up to me and tell me you are not worthy of life.
It's not always an incident. It's the
Exactly.
things we've created.
Exactly. Like, I've never had someone tell me you're not worthy of life when I was my most depressed. Like, immediately when you're depressed, your confidence is incredibly low. So for me, my thoughts that were running through my mind was, okay, I'm not worthy to carry on living. Like, what is the point? I'm going to die anyway. But if I look back at it now, I'm like, but whoever told me these things? No one but me. And simply that just awareness that it's you, because if you look at confidence as well, it's kind of that fear of judgment from other people as well.
Oh, yeah.
So if you take a step back and see that, well, you know what, this has all just been because of my own mind, my own thoughts, my own thinking patterns, you immediately know what to change because you're conscious of that.
Yes, I mean, because feelings aren't reality. Just because we feel it doesn't mean it's real. Exactly. Just because we're scared that we hear a tap at the window doesn't mean there's an axe murderer out there. It could just be windy and there's a twig, right? That's the reality, no matter how fearful you feel. And that's so hard for us to go, just because I feel this way doesn't mean it's real, right? And then to realize you're the perpetrator, you're the scary twig outside. That's a tough one.
And also, detaching from thoughts. I think one of the things when it comes to, if you look at the general concepts of manifestation, kind of grits me a little bit, is they always just say, oh, just think the right feels or think the right thoughts, feel the right feels, and everything will come into your reality, which is one of the things of law of attraction. So everyone thinks if they've mastered law of attraction, they've mastered manifestation. Well, the thing is, there's 12 universal laws that you can master. So law of attraction is not going to create manifestation, not going to create everything in your reality. But the thing is, people then attach and latch too much onto their thoughts. And they're like, oh my goodness, if I think something so negative right now, this is going to happen to my reality. And if that happened, I mean, if you have to think of all the scary thoughts that you think in a day, I think my world would be completely
Poor
crazy.
use of imagination. That's what it is. Poor use of imagination.
And if you look at our thoughts, about 80% of the thoughts that you think are repetitions from the day before, which is a repetition of the day before that, which is a repetition of the day before that.
Yes.
And only out of all of those repetitions, only about 20% are real, actual thoughts. The rest are just kind of your ego that pops in, because your ego is always trying to keep you intact, keep you safe, keep you from taking risks. It's there just for survival. So your ego is constantly popping in, being like, okay, you know what? Don't do this. We don't like change. Don't don't
Right.
9 to 5 to start that business that you so badly desire to. Don't start the gym because you want to look good in a bikini. Don't approach that person because you're attracted to them and you potentially want to see where it leads. Your ego is constantly trying to keep you in shape.
Yeah.
And if we realize that any thought that pops in, I mean, there are still days to now where I don't feel 100% myself. And I still don't feel completely happy every day. It's be human. But once a
Right.
negative thought pops in, I just let it go. And I think that was a big thing for me to realize when I decided as well. I was on antidepressants for I think about 6 months. And I just woke up one morning and I'm like, I'm refusing to let a pharmaceutical control the rest of my life. And I literally just threw the pills away, which I don't recommend to everyone.
Right. Cautionary.
But that's what I did. And I literally started working my mindset. And my first thing I tackled was my thoughts. So realizing that you don't need to attach meaning to all your thoughts. Recognize them, let them go. But have those thoughts that empower you. Have those thoughts where I think to myself, I am so successful in what I do. I'm so passionate about what I do. And attach the emotions towards them. Attach empowering emotions.
Yes. How does it feel when you say that? Yeah.
And then automatically your confidence is going to go up. There's no single thing that I can tell you this is going to make you more confident.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's all of these things and more. And this has been so amazing. There's so many more things I want to talk about. I'm so glad that we do have an extra segment tomorrow. But sadly, I have to say, before my last question, can you please tell everyone where they can find you and what you're offering the audience today?
Yes, definitely. So they can check out my website. It's www.misskofficial.com or my Instagram, which is @misskofficial, underscores between all the words.
We'll have it down in the links. You guys can see it there.
See all the nitty gritty there. And basically, I'm a mindset and manifestation coach. I work predominantly with women, and I basically help women build more confidence and release their fears that have been holding them back and their doubts, so they can start manifesting the life that they've always desired, and also create financial freedom and abundance, because that's what we all want in the end. It creates more opportunity, and more money just means that we can actually impact more people.
Yes.
And with both general life women and business women.
Yes. And so there is a intention guide, I think you have, right? So if you guys go to the website, misskofficial.com, you'll be able to download that. It's more than goals. It's about setting intention. So definitely go and check that out, download that. And as you heard, she has amazing courses and things that are going on. You might have just missed the first one, but get on that waiting list for the next one. And so for my last question, and we're going to really short on time here before my last question. What do I have to do this week to design my best life with self-confidence?
Well, what I suggest for you is definitely going through that process of examining your thoughts and your feelings and your actions and results, and then going through your own process of manifestation as well. So I told you, is to have your thoughts, have those feelings, start embodying those emotions, and start taking small action steps towards reaching your goals. Because the fastest way you're going to build confidence is to start taking action.
Okay. So I'm going to get some details from you too after the show, and I will share with everybody. You guys follow me on social media. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, it's been so wonderful. So I have my assignment, you guys. If you want to follow along, like I said, let us know by tagging @My Design Life Show and using the hashtag Manifest Confidence, or simply watch how it goes for me on the Instagram page @My Design Life Show. And if you like this and you want to see more, don't miss a thing by subscribing to one of our channels, or better yet, get on our email list to get show updates, highlights, guest giveaways, replays, and more. You can find everything at mydesignlife.show, tanyamfk.com, or just reach out to me at tanyamfk. We'll see you here every other Monday to create a life you love on the UI Media Network.
Thank you for joining us at My Design Life. Catch us every other Monday at 3 p.m. EST. Follow us at Tanya MFK, My Design Life Show, United Intentions Foundation, and UI Media Network. Do you have methods, tips, or hacks to live your best life? Be a guest on our show. Contact us at mydesignlife.show to submit an application.